Good evening. I would like to take this time to call to order the August 3rd, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. We would like to welcome those that are in attendance as well as those that are at home streaming online. Also, City Director Ken Richardson, who is participating online, I believe City Director Irma Hendricks as well. Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll.
Director Hendricks.
Thought she was. Not yet, but you're working on it?
Director Richardson.
Here.
Director Webb.
Here.
Director Peck.
Here.
Director Wright.
Here.
Director Wyrick. Director Compuris. Director Phillips.
Present.
Director Adcock. Present. Vice Mayor Hines.
Present.
Scott.
Present. Vice Mayor Hines, if you would, please give our invocation.
Thank you. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord in Christ, please let us seek your guidance tonight as we conduct the people's business, as we seek to find your way in what we're doing here for the citizens, for our public safety, first responders. We always seek your will and search out your ways. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. May we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Good. I think the clerk would like to see you. We have two modifications for tonight's agenda. Item M1, which is a resolution to encourage the Arkansas General Assembly to reconsider the provisions of Act 1002. Item M2 is the resolution for the city to apply for federal aid service transportation program grant funds for the resolution for Jonesboro Trail. Is there a motion?
So move.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Who was the second?
I was second if I wouldn't recognize the one who made the motion. I think I made it simultaneously with Director Adcock.
The second is City Director Ken Richardson.
Randy, would you have someone, Randy, Director Wright needs listing.
Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda along with items M1 and M2.
The consent agenda consists of a motion to approve the minutes of the March 2nd, 2021, March 16th, 2021, April 6th, 2021, April 20th, 2021, and May 4th, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting, and the April 27th, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors special called meeting. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with G&W Diesel Service Incorporated in amount not to exceed $3,386,000 for the purchase of one Pierce mid-mount aerial truck and 3 Pierce pumper trucks for the Little Rock Fire Department and for their purposes. A resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Cromwell Architects Engineers Incorporated in amount not to exceed $77,900 for design and engineering services for the Canis Park Improvement Project and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Cunningham Recreation in an amount not to exceed $650,000 for the purchase and installation of Game Time fully inclusive playground at MacArthur Park and for the purposes of funding from a portion of the funding from the 3/8 capital improvement sales tax. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with Township Builders Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $64,000 $350 for construction repairs to the West Central Community Center parking lot and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the mayor and city clerk, mayor of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, to sell approximately 15 acres of land located on Zuber Road to Amazon and for the purposes. A resolution authorized the mayor to accept a donation of approximately 337 acres of land from W.B. Iskrig and Sons LLC for use by the Little Rock Port Authority and for the purposes. A resolution authorized the mayor to enter into a contract with Tracy A. Fisher for the purchase of approximately 3 acres of land for use by the Little Rock Port Authority for economic prospect recruitment and for the purposes. A resolution authorized the city manager to enter into a contract with EPA Demolition and Construction Services LLC in amount not to exceed $136,500 for the demolition and cleanup of an unsafe commercial building located at 1717 North Mississippi Street, Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. A resolution to encourage the Arkansas General Assembly to reconsider provisions of Act 1002 of 2021 to permit appropriate health guidelines to be followed by city local governments to protect their citizens from potentially fatal infectious diseases and for their purposes. A resolution to express the willingness of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to apply for and utilize federal aid surface transportation program grant funds for the construction of the Jonesboro Drive Trail and for the purposes. That concludes the consent
Move for
agenda.
the adoption of the consent agenda.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Mayor, I want the record to show I'm a nay on M1.
Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the, well, actually, we have our citizens' communication. Mr. Luke Scrabble.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to exercise my First Amendment rights. I got this flashy campaign for the tax from the mayor. Couple things in here a little too slick for me, Mayor. Said in here that this is an opportunity to replace our sales tax with a newer and bolder version. But what you didn't really explain is that we're going from a 9% tax to the first of the year to a 9.625. Be accurate. It's an increase in our tax. One of the things I've been talking with some of the single moms out here in Southwest Little Rock in both wards, 2 and Ward 7. Now, what really gets me about this $530 million tax is that 33% of this tax goes to parks, recreation, golf course, and fitness. Now, this indoor sports complex, total cost is going to be $45 million. Now, the single moms are going to be paying a penny on every dollar till 2025 out of their budgets. And once this indoor sports complex is built, and when they drag their kids over there to War Memorial Stadium, where supposedly it's going to be built, there's nothing concrete where any of this is going to be built. It's not going to be free to get in. They're going to have to pay the tax to build it, and then they're going to have to pay the tax to get in. Now, the Jim Daly Olympic-sized pool that we're going to spend $9.5 million on won't be completed till 2028. Now, 7 years, these single moms are going to pay for this out of their budgets. They'll take a penny out of every dollar they're going to spend for the next 7 years, pay for this. And then when they drag their kids over there to War Memorial Stadium, load their kids up to go use it, we're not going to let them in for free. They got to pay to get in. It's a burden on these single moms in wards 2 and 7 from Southwest Little Rock. I want you to know that. Now, the fire station that they're thinking on building, they don't have the land for that yet. parking deck that they're thinking on spending $12 million on. They don't have the land for that. Now, this slick ad, they got a picture for the affordable housing to address the homeless issue and affordable
Scrabble.
housing.
Mr. Scrabble, your time is up.
Oh, I'm sure, Mayor. Well, I'll be back. We'll talk about it, but
We'll
this
see.
isn't a fair
Mr.
tax.
Scrabble, your time is up. We'll see you next week, though.
Oh, you bet, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Have a blessed day.
Don't be sending these slick ads. Be accurate, please, Mayor.
Have a blessed day. Reverend Benny Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor Scott and the city board. I've come to this board many times, many years about the violence that was going in our city. And majority of you turned a deaf ear to me except for Director Henderson, Director Richardson. Now, we had a program in this city called New Future, New for Youth, a very effective program in this city. But one of our board members had a personal problem with Director Richardson. They plotted up and they cut the funding to this program, a program that was very, very productive. It went out there, conflict resolution. He's on the front line, squashing the beef before things even happen. Now, year in and year out, this board said that public safety is the #1 priority, but yet you cut the funding to this program. And I want to tell you, the one that plotted up, I want to tell you, shame on you. Now, Director Hines, I do agree with you. We need policing, but we can't police ourselves out there. Now, you know I didn't care nothing but for past Chief Kenton Buckner, but that's one thing I agree with him. It's going to take a collaborative effort from the police department, from the neighbors, and faith-based organizations. Now, you turn around, you get a chamber of $200,000 a year, but you cut the program to New Futures, which is productive and helps squash a lot of violence in this city. You are being hypocritical when you do that. Now, I told y'all didn't listen to me, that this violence is gonna come north I-630 and west of University. And you see the Colony West Shopping Center out in Chenal. If we keep on kicking this same can, you're gonna keep on seeing senseless homicide. And I wanna ask this board, we need to support Mayor Scott on this PIT, Prevention, Intervention, and Training, relocate a lot of money so we can get this city back in order. Mayor Scott, I support you on this PIT, and I hope the rest of the board, because if you don't, we're gonna have a lot of senseless homicides. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Johnson. Miss Mary Jones. Mrs. Mary Jones.
Mayor Scott, audience. Parkview Tower. Had no problems until September the 10th, 19, a protest over of the Little Rock School. My sign read, Johnny Keith and white supremacists get out of the Little Rock School District. The next day, the tenant said they ran some errands in return. When I returned, I recognized a staff member of the Arkansas Board of Education in Joe Mathis' office, the residential manager. The next day was inspection. Joe came in my door yelling and degrading and how nasty I was. I told her the last inspection, she complimented me that I was a great housekeeper. She said, not anymore. She has had unscheduled inspections. Someone has came in my apartment while I wasn't home. I have been tortured, harassed, and retaliated against because I let her know The same day that the board and residential manager received a certified letter stating the horrors in the building, my car was hit on the parking lot, causing $3,000 worth of damage. February 19, 2021, it was 8 degrees and 2 feet of snow on the ground. My apartment was the only one that didn't have heat. When I called to report it, she began yelling and screaming and sent me a broke heater. I had to use the stove to keep warm. I received a heater at the end of May when the air was cut on. The alarm in my apartment went off at 2 a.m. in the morning and stayed on for 40 minutes. I called the office and the maintenance man 5 times. The maintenance man came. I received a letter the same day.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
your 3-minute time limit is up.
Okay, I asked the board to investigate.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Lott Johnson. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. Mr. Lott Johnson.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and the directors. I come to you talking about speed bumps. I was here on the 6th of July and you said that you get someone to call me. If they called, I didn't get the call, nor was on the voicemail or anything. But yet, we're gonna move on. I live on Marlin, one of the longest streets. It is in Little Rock. And it's approximately a mile long. It's kind of wide. It runs from Canis to Romine. And we having problems with it on the speed, drag racing. They tore up signs and run in a woman's yard and tore a fence down. And also, I left you a little literature up there. There's another topic that need to be talked about in private. I'm not going to get into that.
Yes, sir.
And you have the letter
Yes,
that Mr. Moore wrote and everything. He's working on it. But at any rate, we need speed bumps. It's not that expensive. You might need 4 or 5 of them, like on Romine Road. It's safety, Mayor, because you got a school bus that goes down to the north end. That'll be back this way. Just like I'm looking at you, this is where the street is, but it's about a mile long. They run through that, kids on both sides. You don't want to get sued. The city don't want to get sued for someone running over some kids. They are not paying any attention. I'm telling you in Jesus' name, they are running 65 to 70 miles an hour. Okay, you done another, I got to talk fast because I know you got this 3 minutes. You done another survey somewhere on the 12th of last month. It was on Labette. Labette run east and west. It goes across there, just like this, goes across. My street that I live on run north and south. That was not the survey, so it was a mix-up on that. So we don't, if you got that, you got the wrong data, you got the wrong information, you got everything. And so it's very important. I've been living there 25 years, me and my wife, and we love that. We put money in our house, other people's, neighbor put money in his house, people putting money in the house. Crime is rapid. I want to commend Mr. Johnson there. He's telling you the truth. It's running rapid. And it's not your fault, but we have got to spend some money in Twin Lakes area. We have got to spend some money. A lot of our houses paid for. We are older people. Parks and things are fine, but also the core peoples. You got to take care of the core peoples. And just as sure as I raised from the dead level to the perpendicular on the square, that is the truth. That means truth and honor. You'll know what that means. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson, Mr. Honeywell is here. He'll come visit with you shortly. We did do a study. I don't know. I know there was a study done, so if it got mixed up, we'll get that corrected. But Mr. Honeywell is here somewhere, and we'll make sure, Mr. Blake, if you'll make sure Mr. Honeywell visited with Mr. Johnson. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Michael Tappan?
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Directors. Yeah, I also live on Marlin Drive with my neighbor, Mr. Lott. I have the same concerns about the speed bump, drag racing. I have a family with kids, I want to keep them safe as much as I can. I think that'll help the community and getting people to slow down with the speed bumps and, taking care of the neighborhood and all that. So I just want to second him on everything he said and make sure we can get some stuff done around there because we want to keep the community going. I've been there almost 20 years and I want to stay there as long as I can. So if you would, look into that for me.
We'll make sure that gets handled, as a shared. I think, if staff got the wrong street, we apologize. We'll get that corrected. Mr. Honeywell's here. Mr. Blake, if you'll get their information, we'll make sure, we get on top of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the grouped items for the first time.
An ordinance to accept the Cypress Bend Canis annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned residential district titled Rosemary Villas at Chenal PRD, located at the northwest corner of Rawling Road and Canis Road in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, amending the official zoning map of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for other purposes. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Central Arkansas Library System in amount not to exceed $75,000 to provide programming, coordination, meetings, and applications for the Be Mighty Summer Meals Program and for other purposes. An ordinance to create a no-wake zone for a segment of the Little Maumelle River located within the corporate limits of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes. An ordinance to authorize the issuance and sale of water reclamation system refunding revenue bonds to provide for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bonds, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. An ordinance to call a special election in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas on November 9th, 2021, for the purpose of submitting to the electors of the city the question of an increase of continuing annual ad valorem property tax levied for the purpose of paying for the maintenance and operation of the city's public libraries operated by the Central Arkansas Library System from the existing rate of 3.3 mils to the new rate of 3.8 mils on the dollar of assessed valuation of taxable property in the city, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency and for the purposes. First reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to accept the Cypress Bend Canis annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a planned zoning development, establish a planned residential district titled Rosemary Villas at Chenal PRD, located at the northwest corner of Rawling Road and Canis Road. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Central Arkansas Library System in amount not to exceed $75,000 to provide programming, coordination, meetings, and application for this Big Mighty Summer Meals Program. An ordinance to create a no-wake zone for the segment of the Little Maumelle River located within the corporate limits of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to authorize the issuance and sale of water reclamation system refunding revenue bonds to provide for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bonds, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to call a special election in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas on November 9th, 2021, for the purpose of submitting to the electors of the city the question of an increase of continuing the annual ad valorem property tax levied for the purpose of paying for the maintenance and operation of the city's public libraries operated by the Central Arkansas Library System from the existing rate of 3.3 mils to the new rate of 3.8 mils on the dollar of assessed valuation of taxable property to the city, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency. Second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
An ordinance to accept the Cypress Bend Canis annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to approve a plan zoning development, establish a planned residential district titled Rosemary Villas at Chenal PRD, located at the northwest corner of Rawling Road and Canis Road. An ordinance to declare it impractical and unfeasible to bid, to authorize the city manager to enter into agreement with the Central Arkansas Library System in amount not to exceed $75,000 to provide programming coordination, meetings, and applications for the Be Mighty Summer Meals Program. An ordinance to create a no-wake zone for a segment of the Little Maumelle River located within the corporate limits of the city of Little Rock, Arkansas. An ordinance to authorize the issuance and sale of water reclamation system revenue refunding bonds to provide for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bonds, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency. An ordinance to call a special election in the city of Little Rock, Arkansas on November 9th, 2021, for the purpose of submitting to the electors of the city the question of an increase of continuing the annual ad valorem property tax levied for the purpose of paying for the maintenance and operation of the city's public libraries operated by the Central Arkansas Library System from the existing rate of 3.3 mils to the new rate of 3.8 mils on the dollar of assessed valuation of taxable property to the city, prescribing other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency. Third and final reading.
We've now had 3 readings. Are there any questions? 3 readings. Are there any questions? 3 readings. Are there any questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 16.
Mayor, we have emergency clauses on 14 and 15.
All those in favor for emergency clauses for 14 and 15, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you read item number 16 for the,
A resolution to state the primary intended uses of a portion of the first tranche of the City of Little Rock, Arkansas's allotment of local fiscal recovery funds through the American Rescue Plan Act and for other purposes.
thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Mr. Moore, will you make some commentary? This is again as a result, if those will recall, we had a presentation by Director Emily Cox that shared that we intended to provide this resolution on this date due to certain reasons. Mr. Moore, will you share those reasons?
There are 5 items recommending. Listening to the board last Tuesday, obviously were some items that warranted further discussion, but from a timing standpoint, and then again, after listening, we felt like these are the items that we did need to at least move forward with. And it does not encompass the entire 18 million. It's a little over 11 million, but the most critical one would be and I don't know if someone can pull up the board communication on Friday, but is the $3.4 million in cybersecurity that we talked about. The company has agreed to, their fiscal year ended July 31st, but they agreed to hold those that price for 2 weeks in August. So it's really critical. And if we don't, they have said it's a anywhere from a 20 to 30% increase on your the discussion last week was about the fire apparatus and the critical need to move forward with that component. So this is a recommendation that we would move forward. That, considering what Reverend Johnson said, and that we all know what is going on in our community, we felt like it was important to move forward with the community violence intervention program. A lot of the details are still to be worked out, but recently, even at the federal level, the recommendation was to use our federal dollars to try to address some of the things that are going on in our cities. Considering what the board just passed with the M1 resolution dealing with COVID, item 4 deals with COVID mitigation and prevention, and the idea around that is that we want to offer incentives to Little Rock residents, not just City of Little Rock employees, but Little Rock residents to get the vaccine. There are other cities, there's companies I saw today where Tyson is offering $200 to their employees if they get the vaccine. I believe, and I think Director Campiris would say, Dr. Campiris would say, we need to get more shots in the arms. And we tried a lot of different things, even with our employees, as far as incentives. But this idea or concept would actually provide incentives to Little Rock residents. And we're at a critical stage. Dr. Pierce talked about the next 5 weeks are critical. So we want to move forward with this. We would partner with a bank to offer gift cards to citizens who show that they've completed the vaccine schedule. Also included is the one-time pay for city employees that obviously have been working through the pandemic. This includes public safety, police, fire, public works, which when you look at our organization, as most of you all know, that's the vast majority, that's 2/3 of our employees. So we wanted to move forward with that. And then just the indirect costs that we know that we're going to incur, so we can just hire some staff members to monitor. I mean, the federal government has been very clear that there are guidelines that change almost on a daily basis, but we want to ensure that we have some staff members on board that will monitor and make sure we're spending the dollars correctly. Those are the recommendations, and obviously there's others that were talked about, infrastructure and other components, but there's some that we just feel like we need to move forward with ASAP.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moore. Just to kind of recap, after listening to the board last week and sharing that we needed, due to time constraints on a number of different reasons that Mr. Moore laid out, that we would bring this before the board today. These requests and the resolution does meet all of the federal standards of the American Rescue Plan Act. It is things that we've all been discussing as relates to prioritizing the need for our fire apparatus, clearly the need to focus on community violence intervention, clearly the need to focus on continue our focus on COVID-19 in the middle of this third wave, and most importantly, taking care of our people with this premium pay. And so that's the reason why we decided to bring those other things that had some questions from members of the board. We've held back on that to kind of come back before the board as it relates to housing and homelessness and a few other things with infrastructure. That and as well as cybersecurity that Mr. Moore shared. Director Peck.
Thank you, Mayor, and I completely understand. But I am not. July 1st of 2020. March 1st of 2020.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second.
And just before we have the vote, do want to make sure everyone's aware that would impact police officers that recently graduated and other that they've been in the midst of the pandemic. So I just, again, as we shared at the last meeting, you pick one date, there's going to be an issue. And so what we tried to do is to get as close as amount and include not only our police officers, as well as our recent graduates of our fire academy. I believe even with that, Mr. Moore, I don't know if Chief Hubbard is still here, that may exclude the 2021 class of our Little Rock Fire Department. That was the reason why we chose July 1. So you will be impacting not only other full-time employees, but as well members of the police department and fire department who recently graduated, but when they started their recruiting class, they are city employees. And many of them were exposed to COVID. We had a couple of times, I know definitely with Fire Academy, where people may have been exposed, had to quarantine throughout their process as far as other employees. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that.
And well, thank you for that clarification. And that is important. And I think that is rather unique when it comes to police and fire. But for instance, not for other first responders and frontline people that may have just started work in the last 30 days. That's where it seems unbalanced to me.
Totally understand, but we're treating all employees, I mean, it could be July 1st, and we can say July 30th, and it'll make it an issue. It'd be April 1st, it'll be an issue with someone who retired on April 30th, March 1st. There's a number of issues. We spent a number of time, Mr. Moore, if you'll share, as we discussed that process. And so that was the rationale, is try to include as many employees that were impacted by COVID-19. I just want to make sure the board's aware that we recently graduated police and fire, police officers, fire officers. And as Mr. Moore would share before, we got essential personnel that, from the payroll administrator to make sure that everyone's paid, but also was exposed with COVID. So that's the.
I totally understand. Is there not some way for us to pull out fire and police? Again, it's just, I mean, I'm thinking about it as a business owner and just being, I mean, believe me, Mayor, I understand.
No, I just want to make, I'm fine with you moving that. I just want to make sure you all are clear.
My question is, could we not separate fire and police since they were training and I realize we just had a graduating ceremony on Friday, because I wouldn't want them to be impacted, because even though they weren't officially city employees, they were training to become city employees and first responders.
No, they were city. They're officially city employees. They may not be officially an officer, but
So
they
could
are.
we separate them?
It's your amendment. I do want to just again make sure you're aware that it could be some other downstream HR issues by creating that disparity. But it's definitely up to the members of the board.
I would then amend my amendment to include fire and police.
There's a motion. Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
Mayor,
And that was actually for the amendment. That was for the amendment. We've now had Director Richardson.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Could you repeat the amendment? I don't think the interpreter even heard it, because Director Peck's mic kept going in and out. And I don't think even interpreter heard the full extent of what we're voting on. So can you or Director Peck repeat what it is we're voting on?
Yeah.
Mr. City Attorney, if you explain. Hold on one sec. Not working.
Leave it hot, don't press it, it's fine. Richardson, we've already taken that.
Already done what now?
We've already taken that vote.
I didn't hear me saying a yay or a nay. So I'm talking about I think Director Peck made a motion or amendment that I didn't, and I don't even think our attorney. I mean,
I'll recap it for you, Director Richardson. We
Right.
read item 16.
right.
Director Peck made a motion to change the date from July 1 to March 1. The conversation, I made the comment to make sure the board was aware by voting for this amendment that members, cadets during the time, cadets of both police and fire would be excluded because of that period in time. After listening to that, Director Peck then changed the amendment to be moved from July 1st to March 1st with the inclusion of the graduating classes of both police and fire. And so,
And we haven't voted on that amendment yet, correct? I'm somewhat confused when our attorney say we voted on it, and we have an amendment to something that we've already voted on, but the amendment hadn't been voted on.
We voted on the amendment, but not the.
so we have not voted on the resolution. We're about to vote on the resolution after a few more questions from members of the board.
That's all. We couldn't hear her, and that was problematic for me and our interpreter, and anybody who utilizes our interpreter for informational purposes. They couldn't necessarily hear or understand what it was Director Peck was talking about. She was going in and out, more out than in.
All right, thank you so much, Director Richardson. Thank you, Director Peck. Director Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to state my no vote. The reason why I voted no was not because I'm against the pay to the employees. I had city employees reach out to me too last week about this, and they were, the ones I talked to were fine with the July 1st date. So I just wanted to state for the record the reason why I voted no, but definitely supportive of the bonus pay for our employees who work for our citizens through this pandemic. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Director Adcock.
Yes, Mr. Moore, I would like to see this in writing, what you have written, so I know what we're passing tonight and what is still out there. And Mayor, what does this do to the water funding that we talked about last week?
Yes, ma'am. I know, Mr. Moore, do you want to address that it is in writing and was sent out to the members of the board?
Sure. Director, it's item number 16. There's a board communication for me that outlines but we'll have Ashley send it to you. And on the, remember there were other items. So this is 5. I think there were 12 maybe. And those items will come back at some point in the future. We've had some conversations about moving those dollars to infrastructure. But that's not before you tonight.
Okay, and the water's not before us tonight,
Correct.
so we're not voting on it.
Correct.
And I do not recall getting a memo from you outlining. So if you would, please resend it to me.
We'll do it.
Vice Mayor Hines.
Thank you. One of the other things, and I'll have to, my memory's failing me. But I'd asked for what the impact was on how many employees we had hired part-time and full-time at last week's agenda meeting. What the impact was. Was that in that memo, Bruce? I don't think it was.
It was not. I think Emily has that. I mean, Emily has that number.
And I guess the issue is I like to be a little data driven to see how many employees we were or were not impacting on that, on this issue. I gather we've got, be fair to everybody, but you've got some, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, seems that fairness to the employees that have been here through the full part of the pandemic, somebody that's been here less than a month gets the full tilt. I'm supportive of the amendment. I just, I thought we'd ask for some data on how many employees we'd actually hired and part-time and full-time over the last couple of months. So we had some data to make a decision off of and not recollect that this was coming forward this quickly. I understand the need for a fire truck and crime intervention funds. I think the only thing is just the technical part of the bonus pay. So I think we've addressed that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See any other questions? There's been a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I think you have to do it as amended.
As amended.
Well, and I didn't get a motion and a second on the resolution as a whole.
I second it.
There's a second. Motion from Director Phillips, second by Director Richardson. All those in favor, please say aye. As amended.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you so much. I think this may be one of our shorter meetings.
Mayor, I have a question for staff when you get a second.
Before we move to closure, Director Hines, Vice Mayor Hines.
Yes, is Mr. Honeywell in here? If not, I'll give it to Bruce. So there's a project that was funded this year. We We passed it back in October of last year. It was Chenal Traffic Island modifications, Bruce. We originally put it in the resolution for $190,234. The base bid amount, and that 190,000 was the top amount, including contingencies. But as I was looking on, and part of those improvements are actually in Ward 6. The Autumn Road and Chenal are in Director Wright's ward, and we brought this to staff's attention back when we were doing this. So one, I want to make sure those costs are split up appropriately. And then when I was looking at the Little Rock Cent, there's $240,000 allocated for that. So I want to know how, and that project looks like it's complete. So I'd like a write-up on that and verification that the cost for the portion that's in Director Wright's ward got assigned to her and they didn't all get assigned to Ward 5. I'd appreciate that. Thanks.
Director Wright, is that what you want to share? We'll take that as Director Wright with a concurrence.
Yeah, I concur with that. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
recognize me?
Yes, ma'am. I got my notepad ready.
I received a call from the director of Easter Seals on Charlotte Drive, Mr. Moore, and they're requesting speed humps, and they said they'd reached out to Public Works and they'd not gotten any response or feedback. Can you research that and let me know what the status is? And also regarding Marlin Drive, I received a call from another neighborhood resident over there, or that utilizes that street, and she concurs with Mr. Lott Johnson about the speeding. And I believe there have been 2 surveys, and they both say that the speeding is non-existent. But I find that hard to believe because I'm hearing from more and more residents over there that is a major problem. So is it appropriate at this time, Mr. Moore, if the residents will go ahead and get a petition of the neighborhood residents over there? Can we move to that stage?
That's fine.
Okay, so that may be something that we need to share with the residents over there, because this has been an ongoing issue for a while now, and I would like a resolution to it. Thank you. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Before we conclude, Mr. Moore, let's work to have another policy discussion in regards to affordable housing and homelessness and infrastructure at our next policy meeting. Just to kind of talk through that.
How about that on the 10th?
Today the 3rd, correct? Madam Clerk?
I was just trying to confirm, are you talking about next Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
You said,
I would just say American Rescue Plan Act, another discussion, and we'll just bring up those items.
I got it.
The focus is going to be on homelessness, housing, and then infrastructure. Then I would say infrastructure as well as sewer, should have specified. And we'll probably need to have Mr. Greg Ramon attend. As far as, yeah, we'll talk through that. That being said, just want to thank the members of the city board for your, for our closing comment. Director Ryrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 things that I wanted to bring up. One of them is the land bank transfer that we did for Rolling Pine subdivision. I know Bruce is very much aware of this. It's been a number of years that land was transferred to some individuals, and there's not anything going on in that subdivision. Can we get someone to look at that and see what our next steps are? Okay, and the other thing is, I got a lot of calls over the weekend and yesterday and today in regards to bulky item pickups, yard waste, and then picking up the green monsters. And when I talked to Public Works, I was told that we are delayed And part of it has been due to employees not working. And so I bet the city is getting a lot of calls about that. So does anybody have an update as to where we are on getting caught up to speed? I think we might be up to speed on the Green Monsters, but the bulky item pickup and the yard waste may be delayed.
Yes.
Does anybody have any information on that? It might be helpful for our folks to know.
Well, I'll just keep it very candid. We have our team working a lot of overtime right now to stay on top of things. One of the main issues that we're having, that the private sector is also having, is employment issues. And with the enhancement in unemployment, there are 35 job openings right now in those same areas that you're referring to. And we are actively but we have to have people who want to take the job. But I believe and same thing, Director Peck will tell you that you go to any restaurant right now, there's a shortage of employees, whether it be private sector or the public sector. And so right now, Public Works has 34, 35 vacancies. But they have approval to have all the overtime that they need, particularly on the weekends, so we can continue to stay on top of things. So what that does, it creates a backup on ditch maintenance. We do have, to your credit, Director Warwick, we did move forward with the bulky item, kind of what we call SWAT team, to pick up, and they are picking up. But we still have 35 vacancies too for our traditional route. So that's what we're experiencing right now. But they are authorized to have overtime. Anyone who wants to do overtime on the weekend, they have that availability within Public Works.
I knew that was the issue. I just wanted to share it with our viewing audience so they would know and maybe be patient with us.
Oh, that was an alley-oop then.
Do what?
That was an alley-oop. It's a basketball term.
I guess, I don't know.
Just say yes.
Yes.
I guess Director Phillips, he knows that he's a former collegiate basketball player. That being said, I just again want to take this time to share appreciation to members of the Board of Directors for your yes vote on the American Rescue Plan Act. This really helps some of our most dire issues that we are dealing with as a city by being able, as a result of those 2 to 3 fire apparatus that had a wreck. It really put us in a bad shape. We're now even better in shape now because with this funds, we'll get those additional apparatus as we discussed. And so it actually puts us ahead. And we know it's even ahead of some things that have historically had some issues. And so we're grateful of our fleet department and fleet director and Chief Hubbard. So to Mr. Hinton and Chief Hubbard, we're grateful. We're grateful to the members of the board on fire apparatus. Clearly, community violence intervention and COVID, and what we're doing with cybersecurity, and most importantly, our employees. And so we're grateful for the members of the board to take this action and accept this proposal. We'll be back before you on the other items to have a little bit more discussion. And then after that discussion, figure out a way to continue to listen to you and come back with a new proposal as we've done here today. So just wanted you to know that we do appreciate you. All those in favor to adjourn, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.